Yo, alright. So, I'm sure you guys can see the title, right? But I think I'm gonna have to go on a very deep explanation of what's been going on lately. Because these staff in SO3 are just wilding and lying so fucking hard. It's actually crazy. So this is I'm gonna start from the beginning of how this all started and happened and all this other BS. Okay, so originally it started how I was an advisor and the Hokage thinks it would be a good idea to, I don't know, wipe me. I don't know why he hated me so much, but he really just disliked me for some reason. And he tried to wipe me one time when I got TP and I was getting set by an admin. This admin was a very bad admin and he tried setting me mid PD. So, I got TP'd. He shouldn't have been able to kill me in the first place. But instead, the admin decided, oh yeah, let's get this guy a 10-second head start and then I'm going to let the Hokage chase him. And for some reason, this idiot admin, I was running away. I would have got wiped that day. But the admin had went over and started attacking him when he nodded me, right? And honestly, he should have just TP'd me back to where I was, because I was at Cloud. I was just sitting at Cloud, and Hokage had a bounty mission on me. That's how he knew I was at Cloud and all that. And Rat was molding about it. He was crying. He was having an aneurysm about it, because he just hates me so much, and I don't know why, right? So this all is just out of the picture for a while, right? Because we already proved that I shouldn't be wiped because I got TP by an admin. The admin got demoted in the story. Well, he still hates me, right? And I got the old Kazekage, the first Kazekage to step down because he was a very bad Kazekage. I don't care what nobody says, he was a bad Kazekage. He had ruined Sand pretty much to the ground. Pretty much what he did. And he lets his hatred go on to when I become the Kazekage, right? So Twix makes him and me PD1v1. And the PD1v1 was, of course, very biased because these biased admins, talking all kinds of shit about Florida PD and all that. They're making me PD1v1. They said I cannot climb onto any rocks with Hokey specs as a Hokey, which is one of my moves. It's sky jump. It lets you jump onto things. It's just a really high jump. You jump onto the top of things. That's what it's supposed to do. That's the point of sky jump. And they said I can't do that. So I was like, Wix decided the rules for the PD1v1. Well, he didn't decide it, but he said that we decided the rules, basically, right? And me and Rat had decided on no limits. I have proof of this, the whole thing, right? We decided on no limits, so of course it should have been no limits. But of course, these biased admins said, oh yeah, let's put a rule on one of the Kages, but not two of the Kages, because, that's fair, right? And while I had to fight a Lee Kage who popped 7th gate twice, which heals him almost a full health and awakening, I beat him. But for 5 seconds, I had hopped on a rock and I didn't heal. So these niggas were capping about that. I never healed once. I had sky jumped onto the rock and they had started calling me all kinds of retards and stuff like that. So I jumped off and then, I basically beat them. And after that, they said, oh, it's voided because you were on a rock for a few seconds and you healed the half health is what happened apparently. So I guess that whole thing got voided and we're supposed to PD1v1 again the next day. And I was just that day I got sick, so I hopped off for the rest of the day. And I was not finna deal with that because I was just I'm throwing up. I'm dude, I'm just my guts are falling out, dude. Just not dealing with that, right? The next day, right, I get on. I'm feeling so much better. I had kind of rested up, felt better and all that. So I get back on the game and I'm just yo, what's up? I'm back. I've been throwing up my guts, but I'm feeling a lot better, so I'm finna just get on and play for a bit, right? Get on, and what's happening is the Raikage and the Hokage just start jumping me. And they also had the Master Two Tails, who was Willie Abrame. They had jumped me with all of them. And the Amikage was there, so, he was helping me and all that. And then Willie and the Amikage kind of just disappeared. And I guess there's a rogue order that I'm also allied with. They tried to wipe Willie while I was fighting the Raikage and the Hokage. And of course, me being the fucking goat that I am, I beat the Hokage. And then the Raikage kind of just went somewhere. He dipped out. So I gripped him and I gripped this Egu guy he was with. And after that, he had went away and he had came back with Raikage again. This time, I was kind of fighting him in a weird area, a weird spot in water. So I lost. Of course, I also didn't have Awakening. I was fighting two Kages, which one of them had Awakening and I didn't. So I was, kind of at a disadvantage there. And I got knocked. And right when I got knocked, he started popping the gate on me. I'm like, whoa, Lunar. Yo, come get me, dude. Lunar picks me up. He just starts zooming. Lunar trying to pack out. But Raikage has a lariat, which is it has no startup. It block breaks. It has over 100 damage, and it's auto tracking. Right? He hits Lunar with it, and Lunar just goes flying away. Right onto a climbable wall, a very climbable wall, which we have proof of. People get on top of that wall. People just climbing up there. He gets on top of that wall, right? And Lunar is a Renegon user.
and Lunar just like I'm because he flung Lunar away, so I'm falling down off this waterfall down into the bottom, like the bottom pit area, and Lunar Almighty pulls me right when the Hokage is about to grip me. He pulls me all the way up, and he like grabs me, and I start regening. And in the clip, right, in the clip that I'm probably gonna show you, I had like we were on like this border, well not like the border, but like we were on like this wall that kind of surrounded the area. So we thought like, oh, this might be a border, even though it was a climbable wall, and there was actually land on the other side of the wall, which is where the Hokage got wiped. We were fighting like we had got up and I went over and I was like, yo, get off this wall because this might be a border. You know, I'm kind of thinking like this is probably a border. Go the other way, go the other way. So Lunar just goes, okay, we're going the other way. He drops me on regen, right? And the Hokage's coming up in 8th gate and the Raikage's coming up in, what's the name? I sky jumped on top of this pillar, right? This pillar is like not near the border or anything. It's just a pillar in like the middle of like this waterfall area on top of this mountain. I sky jumped on the pillar because that's what sky jump is for. And this is not a border. And this is not, it's an unclimbable wall. There's no rules in this game at all. If you go check all the rules, there's one rule in this game about unclimbable walls. And it says you cannot bomb jump onto unclimbable walls. That's the only rule about unclimbable walls at all in the game. So, of course, I sky jumped to that wall because that's what Hokies do. We sky jump on high places. That's what we do. And they jumped the 7th gate and they jumped the Rinnegan user. And the Amikage pulls up. And he just starts putting in the work. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'm regenerating. I'm about to come back down. We're about to fight. All right. I jump back down and I start fighting. And right when I jump back down, the Hokage gets wiped. Like he almost immediately just starts wiping. He's wiped me. Like I hear the sound. I'm like, okay, Hokage is wiped, right? And this should be the end of it. That should have been the end of the whole fight. And what's up happening is because most of the admins are in Leaf, and because of how biased these admins are, I had to deal with arguing with them. I'm like, dude, there's no rule about you getting on the climbable walls. That's not a thing. And they're just like, oh yeah, that's a rule. The Kaze Kage jumped on multiple unclimbable walls, which wasn't true. I jumped on one unclimbable wall, and that's not a rule, of course. So there shouldn't have been, that should have been the end of it. There's no rule on that. So I was on that wall chilling, Hokage gets wiped. That should have been the end of it. But no. What's up happening is, because this is a very obvious, like this should have been a very obvious he's wiped, I'm not thing, right? What they did was they said, okay, let's go into these biased staff, right? Because most of the staff are on this nigga Hokage's tip. They're on his, like, they're running him like he's like the best thing ever, pretty much. And he was Hokage all of last lore, so they're just kind of fiending for this nigga. He shouldn't even be Hokage, pretty much. And while they're all fiending for this dude, they put in staff chat, they do a poll. And I lost the poll 6-2. It said, wipe both of them, wipe the Hokage or avoid it, pretty much, is what happened. And of course, 6 of them voted for wipe both of us because they're trying to get me wiped because I'm literally bringing sand back so hard. And they decide, okay, well then I'm going to wipe both of them, even though it was completely unfair and all that. So, I'm going to hope that you guys have seen what happened. They wiped both of us, which is extremely unfair. I shouldn't have been wiped. I'm sure that if there was less biased admins there, like even there's other admins there saying, how was he wiped? There's no rule about unclimbable walls, pretty much. And, guys are just like, oh yeah, he's wiped and all the other stuff. I guess that's the end of my playtime on SO3. I'm not gonna play this game again, most likely because of this extreme amount of admin bias. Like a lot of these things need to get demoted. It's very unfair. Yeah. So that's about it.